A violent surge of blue cosmic energy tears across the New York skyline before dawn. Windows rattle. Streetlights explode one after another. High above the city, a lone figure screams as impossible constellations ignite across his body. The Guardian's voice echoes through the darkness. No, it's happening far sooner than I feared. Brian struggles to breathe while the glowing mark on the back of his neck burns brighter than ever. The sky itself seems to respond, as if something ancient has awakened. Then, far beyond Earth, four pairs of glowing eyes slowly open inside the endless darkness. As dawn broke over New York, the chaos of the night seemed to disappear. But for Brian, nothing felt normal anymore. Standing alone above the city, he couldn't shake the feeling that something inside him had changed. His hand instinctively reached the back of his neck. The mark wasn't burning, yet somehow, it felt alive, as though it had begun responding to something beyond his understanding. A slight tremor ran through his fingers. Tiny blue sparks appeared for only a heartbeat before fading into the air. Brian froze, unsure if what he'd seen was even real. He stared at his hand in silence, opening and closing his fingers again. "No, I must be imagining this," he whispered, trying to convince himself more than anyone else. A cold wind swept across the rooftop. Dust and loose paper spiraled through the air as an unseen force briefly rippled behind him. Brian sensed it, but when he turned, there was nothing. Then a whisper broke the silence. "Brian." The voice was faint, distant, almost familiar. He looked around the empty rooftop, but whoever, or whatever, had called his name was nowhere to be seen. His eyes drifted across the skyline. For a single moment, glowing constellations appeared over the city like a hidden map, and then vanished as quickly as they had come. Drawn by the voice, Brian walked across the rooftop, searching for answers. Behind him, unseen by his own eyes, traces of cosmic energy followed every step before dissolving into the wind. A reflection flashed within his eyes, not of the city, but of distant stars. The awakening was no longer around him. It had begun within him. Brian turned toward the rooftop exit, believing the strange moment had passed. But beneath his hoodie, the triskelion pulsed once with a faint blue light, and somewhere beyond Earth, something ancient had felt its return. Brian stepped away from the open rooftop and into the cold concrete corridor. The warmth of the sunrise disappeared behind him, replaced by an unsettling silence. A faint whisper drifted through the hallway once again. Brian stopped for only a moment before cautiously moving forward, convinced someone was there. His breathing slowed. Every sound faded as he listened with complete focus, trying to trace the source of the voice echoing through the empty corridor. The lights flickered overhead. Brian looked down the hallway, but there was no movement, no footsteps, only darkness and silence staring back at him. Then, at the far end of the corridor, the air briefly shimmered as if reality itself had been disturbed. Before Brian could react, it vanished. Instead of turning back, Brian pressed forward. Whatever was calling him, he needed to know why. As he reached the stairwell door, glowing constellation-like symbols flashed across the metal surface for the briefest instant. They disappeared before he could make sense of them. Brian wrapped his hand around the handle. His fingers trembled again as tiny blue particles flickered between them, growing stronger with every passing moment. The heavy door creaked open. Beyond it, the stairwell stood silent, washed in cold morning light, waiting as if it had expected him to arrive. Unaware of the darkness behind him, Brian continued deeper into the stairwell. For a single moment, two pale blue eyes opened in the shadows, watching his every step before disappearing once more. Brian descended deeper into the silent stairwell. The further he went, the colder the air became, as though every step was carrying him towards something long forgotten. Then the whisper returned, clearer than ever before. "Brian." It echoed from somewhere below, drawing him onward despite every instinct telling him to stop. Fear still lingered in his eyes, but it was no longer enough to turn him back. Whatever waited ahead, he had to know the truth. Without warning, the lights above began flickering one after another, descending through the stairwell as if an invisible presence was moving just ahead of him. At the next landing, a faint blue figure appeared for only a heartbeat. Before Brian could focus on it, the silhouette dissolved into shimmering light. Brian rushed down the stairs, but when he reached the landing, it was empty. Whatever he was following always seemed just beyond his reach. A faint pulse spread from the triskelion beneath his hoodie. The awakening was growing stronger, responding to the mysterious force guiding him forward. The whispers surrounded him now, echoing through every wall and every stair. There was no direction to follow anymore, only the certainty that he was being led. Then Brian saw it. An old metal door standing slightly open. A soft blue light escaped through the narrow gap, illuminating the darkness around it. He stepped closer and reached toward the handle. Just before his fingers touched the cold metal, the whisper spoke a single word. "Come." Brian slowly pushed the heavy metal door open. A brilliant blue light poured into the stairwell as he stepped into a place that should not have existed beneath the city. An enormous ancient chamber stretched before him. Towering stone pillars, glowing constellation patterns, and silent halls stood untouched, hidden beneath Manhattan for centuries. Brian walked forward in stunned silence. Every footstep echoed through the chamber as he searched for answers hidden within its impossible walls. The deeper he looked, the more one truth became impossible to ignore. This place was far older than the city above it. Without warning, blue energy awakened across the towering pillars one by one, as though the chamber itself had recognized his arrival. At the far end of the chamber, a lone figure stood motionless within the blue light, waiting without a single movement. Unable to look away, Brian slowly walked toward the mysterious stranger, every step pulling him closer to the answers he had been searching for. Beneath his hoodie, the triskelion erupted with its brightest pulse, yet before slowly fading, its power answering the chamber's ancient energy. The silent figure finally stepped forward. Its face remained hidden within the shadows, but its presence alone carried an overwhelming sense of power. Only a few steps separated them now. The chamber fell completely silent as the figure finally spoke. Brian stood frozen as the hooded figure faced him in silence. The blue light behind the stranger slowly faded, leaving only a dark silhouette in the ancient chamber. The figure calmly raised a hand and lowered its hood. At last, the face from Brian's vision stood before him, the Guardian. Brian's eyes widened. "It's you," he whispered, recognizing the mysterious guide who had haunted his dreams. The Guardian stepped forward without fear. Ancient blue energy flowed quietly through the chamber, responding to his presence. Overwhelmed by the Guardian's power, Brian instinctively stepped back. Yet the old man's calm expression carried no threat, only purpose. The Guardian raised his hand toward the chamber. Instantly, glowing constellations spread across the walls, revealing secrets hidden for ages. Ancient carvings emerged from the darkness, depicting a cosmic warrior wearing armor strikingly similar to Orion's. But the warrior's identity had been erased by time. Brian stared at the mural in disbelief. Everything he thought was happening for the first time had begun long before he was born. The Guardian looked directly into Brian's eyes, his voice calm, as though he had waited centuries for this very moment. The chamber fell silent. Then the Guardian spoke. "What awakened inside you is older than this world itself.